So today I thought it would be fun to look at some cultural differences that make it look like Americans might be being rude when they're in Europe. Now, disclaimer here, you can do whatever you want when you go to another country, and honestly most people won't care if they think that your manners aren't good. It's a pretty free ruling place, Europe. You can kind of do what you want, but people just might look at you like, oh, that's a bit rude. It's not North Korea. These are just fun little tips in case you feel like you want to just get everything right, but if you don't worry about it. Before I get into today's video, I would be very appreciative if you might subscribe and like and comment on the video, because lately the algorithm does not like me. So I will invoke an Irish curse upon you, which is that every time you tie your shoes, they will become untied. How inconvenient. Okay, the first thing that Americans do when they come to Europe that is kind of rude is flip people off. Now, let me clarify. Okay, we all know that when you put up the middle finger, I'm doing it right now, it's rude. But in Europe, especially in Ireland and the UK, when you put up two fingers, you're flipping someone off. In America, that actually means peace. If you want it to mean peace in Ireland and the UK and some other parts of Europe, you need to flip your hand around so that the open palm is facing them. But when you do this, it's like F you, which is even worse than F you. Why did I cover it in the first place if I was gonna just do that? I don't know, but it happened. It actually took me into the university stage to realize this difference when an American friend of mine did this in a picture, and I was like, wow, that was like weird. Why did you flip everyone off? And she was like, no, it's like peace. And then I was like, no, this is peace. And she was like, no, in America, that's peace too. So don't do that or it's gonna look like you're flipping people off. Actually, this one is worse than this one, just so you know. Hey, I don't know if this can get me demonetized, but I've done it in the first minute of the video. The next one is one that I spoke about recently that can come across as rude. It's self-promotion. So obviously people go around self-promoting themselves all the time, but not so much in the same way as American or Canadian people do it. The art of self-promotion is one I have not conquered myself. I'm not good at self-promoting. By the way, you can check out my second channel, it exists. See, that wasn't subtle or good, really, but yeah. Americans are so good at self-promoting and promoting other people that they like. Like, some of you guys promote me in my comments better than I promote me, and I think that's really admirable. But I find, like, in Irish culture, because we are afraid of getting notions about ourselves, which is the worst thing you can be accused of, nobody really self-promotes in a very obvious way. We kind of just wait for people to discover themselves that you're good at something or that you've won something or achieved something. We don't go around telling people, which is perhaps, it would be better to go around just telling people. That would make life easier, because you're sitting here, and I'll give you an analogy. So when I was an actor, my dad said that you're like Diet Coke, the product Diet Coke. You're one of the greatest drinks in the world, but nobody knows you exist because you have absolutely no advertising, no PR, nothing. And that's what you are if you don't self-promote. So analogy-wise, I can't remember where I was going with it, but I think you'll understand what I'm saying. Okay, the next one, and this is a funny one because on this channel I completely contradict it. It's gift opening. So maybe times have changed now with kids, but when I was growing up, it was not okay to open your gifts in front of other children because you didn't want to be seen to be opening, say one kid gave you like an amazing computer system and then another kid gave you, I don't know, like a notebook and a pen. It might make the person who gave you the lesser thing feel bad, so you just didn't do it. Also at weddings, you don't open the gifts. It's just seen as, again, rude. You might get something better from one person than another person, and you don't want to make the person who bought you a beautiful gift in the first place to feel bad. Americans, on the flip side, always like you to open your gift in front of them. And a couple of times I've been very torn when I've done like meet and greets in America and people give me things, and I've learned kind of over time, I've only done like a handful of them, but that people expect me to open the gift there and then, but it kind of goes against my cultural upbringing. So when I'm in America, I obviously try and understand your culture and do things your way, so I do open the gifts. But if I'm ever awkward and you meet me and you give me something, that's just why we're just not used to it. It's not a thing that we do in Ireland, certainly. The next one, I put it on this list because I thought it kind of fit when I wrote the list, but now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know that it fits in this list, but sure, let's talk about it anyway. It's circumcising. I mean, arguably it's not good manners to cut off someone's junk. so it fits. So circumcising is a standard thing that Americans do when babies are born in America. You just do it, you think it's more hygienic, and that's the thing that you do. In Europe, we definitely don't do it as a standard practice. Sometimes people will do it for religious purposes. I know Jewish people do circumcision, and sometimes people will do it for medicinal purposes, or if they've come from America, they might do it, but it's not the standard in Europe at all. Like I've said it before on this channel, it kind of seems a bit strange to us that you just do it to the baby. But I respect your culture. But yeah, it does seem a bit odd to us here. From the sublime to the ridiculous. The next one is sitting in a taxi. Okay, so I'm going to say, for example, cities are a little different than the countryside would. So I'm just using Ireland as an example because obviously that's where I'm from. In Ireland, when you get in a taxi, if you're on your own and it's the middle of the day, usually you would be expected to sit in the front seat. Otherwise, it's a little bit rude. If you're in the city, however, it's kind of okay to sit in the back. It's a normal thing. But say you're, I don't know, in Mayo and the taxi drivers come out really far to collect you and you've got a long trip back somewhere, like 10-15 minutes. Yeah, you just want to be chill and sit in the front. Otherwise, it's kind of seen as a little bit rude. Obviously, if you're a vulnerable person at nighttime, the rules change, but generally speaking, it's just seen as cordial to sit in the front seat with the driver. Whereas in America, I've discovered they really don't like you to sit in the front seat at all. Like in New York, I tried to sit in the front seat and the driver got kind of pissy with me because he had to move his stuff, and then it was just really awkward, and I realized I really should have sat in the back. But yeah, you can sit wherever you want, but yeah, I would recommend that if you are in a remote kind of place, it's a bit weird if you sit in the back of the car. So yeah. The next thing that's seen as kind of rude in Europe is getting a doggy bag from a restaurant, and I kind of understand why you need to in America because the portion sizes are so large. But in Europe, here in Spain and in Ireland, it is seen as a little bit I'm trying to think of like a diplomatic word. It's a little, okay, I'm just gonna say it the way that I think that you guys will understand it. It's seen as a little bit trashy, unless you're at the kind of establishment where it doesn't really matter. Like say you're at, I don't know, a TGI Fridays or something and you want your leftovers, grand. But if you're in like a nice family restaurant, it's kind of seen as a little bit odd to get a doggy bag. Now, it's your food. You can do whatever you like with it. And who am I to say that you should let restaurant staff judge you because you want to take home your leftovers? Do it if you want. I'm just telling you, it's going to be received as a bit strange. The next one, I'm just going to say it, and I think all the Americans and Canadians completely understand this one and appreciate it. It's being loud. Yeah, you guys are just, you're kind of loud when you're out and about in public. So just take it down a few decibels. I know like there's a lot of you who aren't that loud and don't like the idea of being called loud when you're not, but yeah, it's just, maybe just be doubly conscious about it because yeah, overall, you guys have a reputation as being loud when you go to other countries. Okay, this next one is really difficult to explain because it's different in every country, and I'm just going to put it under the framework of getting the timing wrong. Okay, in some countries you are going to want to be prompt and on time. Like if somebody says at 3 o'clock, you need to be there at 5 to 3 in Germany. But if somebody says 3 o'clock in Brazil, people don't expect you to be there until like 3:15 at the earliest. And then if you're in Poland, you're going to definitely want to arrive at least 30 minutes late for something in somebody's home. If you arrive on time, they won't be ready. Here in Spain, in Italy and France, being 5 to 10 minutes late is definitely considered the norm. I would say that Ireland and the UK are very similar to America and Canada in that, you know, you kind of want to just be on time, or you could be 5 minutes early, or you could apologize for being 5 minutes late. We're kind of on a par there. But in other countries, it is definitely seen as rude if you are too early or too late. The next one is tricky for me as a non-driver, but I've certainly noticed it as a passenger in America. People tend to not necessarily let you in traffic when you're trying to get into a line. So I've noticed in the cities that I've visited in America, and I do preface that by saying cities, I haven't been to a lot of the Midlands yet, that people tend to not be so friendly and let you into traffic. In Ireland, people are generally not jerks about it. They'll let you in. Here in Spain, however, you would have to basically crash your car into the side of them for them to let you in. So there is that difference. Something that is considered very, very rude throughout Europe, if you do let somebody in, is that if you don't give them a head nod or a steering wheel, you know, one of those, or you know, yeah, I'm not good at it because I don't drive, but that's what you have to do. You have to do that, otherwise you're not very polite. And the number one thing that Americans and Canadians do that's kind of rude is ask for ketchup or mayonnaise at the dinner table in a restaurant. And this is definitely one of those I'm on board with the Americans and Canadians because I like ketchup, I don't like mayonnaise. If you're in a tourist region, you should be okay, but in most parts of, for example, France, Italy, and Spain, if you ask for ketchup and mayonnaise and it's not just already on the table, they think that's really rude and they will kind of look down their nose at you. So, I don't know, I like ketchup, I have no problem asking for ketchup if I want it, so, you know, you do you. Today Chewy just has one shout out, don't you?
I do. Today's shout out is from Jason Moir for his good friend Stevie on the birth of her new daughter Araya in February. This is a pic of Stevie and baby Araya from a few weeks ago. Congratulations Stevie and family, it's a whole new human in the world.
Very good. Well, one shout out's enough for today. Thank you, Jason. That's it for today. I'll see you on this side. Bye. Oh, you can get up on the bed a good 90% of the time, except when I'm here. Do a little, you know, I look like a little old lady, little old lady at the steering wheel. Because I heard that if you can't get up on the bed, you shouldn't be jumping off the bed either. But I think, hey, I'm talking to you. Hello. I think that the only reason that you pretend you need to be picked up is because you're trying to play the baby. What do you think? Circumcising. Okay, no, circumcising. How do I say that? I can't approach the word without circumcising. I have had a little hair in my mouth through this whole video. I've just realized now. Oops.